Alive, Locked On Lions Squad Show starts right now. Welcome one, welcome all. Jake Riepma, Natalie Kerwin, and Bradford Banta. Nat, the Lions not done in free agency just yet.
They've been going crazy over here, Jake, and they might still not be done at this point, but we got a lot to dive into today on the show. Bradford in Vegas, what's up?
Hey, nothing more than economics happening at Allen Park. And Brad Holmes is doing his best to get the best deal possible for the Lions for the most bang for their buck.
One pride. It's the Lions Squad. Everything Detroit Lions every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Motor City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the roar of the Lions to the next great chapter, the Lions Squad Show starts now.
And here we go. The Locked On Lions Squad Show starts right now on the number one sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. Welcome one, welcome all. We've missed you all. We had a little change in the schedule, but not to worry. We got a show coming up tomorrow as well. We'll still get the 2 shows per week. Make sure you like today's video and subscribe to the channel as well. All kinds of things lined up for you on today's show. More major moves in free agency, a little NFL news, and we'll have just about anything else that comes to mind, because that's how we do it here on the Locked On Lions Squad Show. And happy March Madness to all those who celebrate. It's one of my favorite days of the year. And we didn't even get to that in our pre-show meeting, but Nat, I'm sure you filled out your brackets with the Spartans going a long way, picking with your heart. Bradford Banta, who you going with? Who you guys like?
Ooh, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see, just for me. I keep up with college basketball, but not to the extent of what, for me, it's kind of like horse racing. And, you pick your favorite colors, you pick your favorite teams, you go with your heart, that type of stuff. And that tends to get you in the most trouble. So whenever I fill out a bracket, no chance of me winning.
Listen, you might think I have my Sparties going all the way. I don't.
What?
I'm a realist.
They got a tough draw, tough region.
They do.
Even in bracket 2? Even in bracket?
Yeah, how many brackets are we filling out? I'm guilty.
Well, hold on. Don't I have until when's the first game today?
You have like 20 more minutes, Nat. So if you need to check out
during a break,
Dude, how long is your first ad read, Jake? How long is your first ad read?
Can you just combine all 4 ad reads in one section?
Yeah.
I'll stretch it out. I think TCU and Ohio State are the first game. I know people locally here were fired up for the Horned Frogs in that 8-9 matchup. But yeah.
Well, who do you got, Jake? What?
So glad you asked. No, let me break it down for you. No,
yeah, here we go.
Jake's got Northwood going all the way.
Yeah, let's go. Although my Northwood women's basketball team, the Lady Timberwolves, had a Sweet 16 appearance this year, furthest they've gone in school history. So shout out
let's go
women's basketball. We love that. But I try. This is, people are really tuning in for my bracketology here. But the University of Houston 2 seed, they went to the title game last year.
This one's interesting.
They are one of the few teams in all. I know we all saw that stat where there were like less than 20 4-year seniors that played at the same school in major college basketball. And Houston has 2 of those guys. So 2 guys that have been on the squad for 4 years, the tournament experience from last year. I like Kelvin Sampson. I have to break down his press conferences all the time for my work at the Dallas station and the Texas State Network. He seems like he's a leader of men. So I'm going to go with the senior guard play, the experience, and the leader of men to be the Houston Cougars to get it done this year.
Whoa. Okay.
Got to think outside the box too if you want to win those. Although it's a 2 seed, it's not like it's some crazy upset. But I think Michigan's got a great chance. I really do. I think obviously Duke, all the number 1 seeds. Arizona looks unbeatable. So anything can happen in March.
I know. I hate feeling though, guys, like that. I always end up, I'm filling out my bracket and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to have a good Final Four. It's always the 4-1 seeds that I have in there. I'm like, this isn't possible. But last year, that's how it was, right? Didn't all 4-1 seeds end up?
Yes. Yeah,
So,
there were very
I don't
few
know.
upsets last year in
No.
totality. We love the upsets. So
I need a Cinderella story. Like, bring back UMBC
yeah,
taking down Virginia. Bring back the St. Peter's Peacocks that
yeah,
made it to the Elite Eight. Sorry, guys, I get fired up during this time
I
of year.
love
Like,
it. I
I'm
love it.
locked in, Jake.
No, I'm so glad you brought this up, Nat, because I on my Locked On Pistons Squad show, which is a shameless plug. Once again, that show's been rolling. We've got a lot to talk about today, obviously. But I tried to bring it up with the fellas, Koo and Lindsey Hunter, and they're both like, "Yeah, man, we don't do college basketball around here. This is an NBA. Oh, it was hilarious." And I was all fired up, and they're just like, "I got nothing for you, Riepma. Sorry, man."
They just brought you down
Yeah,
immediately. You're
yeah.
like,
So
all
No
right, I'm just
kidding.
gonna
I'm
leave the
and
chat.
Brad, I'm meeting you. Yeah, I'm meeting you guys at I appreciate you guys meeting me at the same hype level for March Madness. But it is the Locked On Lions Squad show. We're about 6 minutes in. We've got some Detroit Lions transactions to talk about in free agency. We begin with the headliner from earlier this week. Finally, the question at edge rusher has been answered, and the Detroit Lions making the move to go with DJ Wanom from the Carolina Panthers. And 1-year deal, short term, little prove it action. And this was not really, I mean, this was a curveball for me. I'll say that. And I'm curious, Nat, I'll kick it to you first, and then Bradford, just everybody's reaction when we saw the deal was done. Also reported by the Detroit Lions social media department. It wasn't one of the NFL insiders that initially broke the news, which I found interesting.
Yeah, I feel like you don't see that too often. It's always the Ian Rappaport or
Right.
the Tom Pelisseros of the world. Yeah, I was surprised about this a little bit. $6 million deal. So I think it's the biggest deal they've made so far with a free agent, if I'm correct on that. But proven guy, veteran guy. He's proven his ability to pressure the quarterback. We need that. We've needed an answer of who's going to be opposite of Hutch at this point, and it could still be someone different. This could simply be just a depth piece, but I do think, this is an answer we've been trying to look for ever since Al-Quadin Muhammad moved on. It's like, okay, who's going to fill that gap? So this could be DJ Wanom, veteran guy. Let's see, 30 sacks in 6 seasons. I mean, I think if he somehow clicks in our system, it'll be a steal. I think if he can somehow, because he's already a guy that, he's considered a vet in this league. And I think if he comes here and he can be productive, I think it's a good pickup for the Lions. I like it. It's not outstanding, but it's like, that you have someone there now that can fill that hole.
Yeah, my thought on this signing, I thought it was a great signing, just simply for the fact that it was a 1-year deal, 1-year prove it deal.
Yeah.
And if he could find his worth in this defense that he's going to be associated with, is one, what are you looking for out of an edge rusher that's going to be opposite Hutch? One is production. Two, well, really, one is reliability, being there game in, game out. I think this is not the end of the signing of an edge rusher. Now, I know that they have, was it Hassanin? But he's an unproven, basically, he's going to be referred to as a first-year player because he's already been in the league for a year. So he's not going to be a rookie anymore. He's had a chance to learn the ropes. He's had a chance to get healthy from his rib injury, I believe it was, or, core injury that he had. So that'll be, he'll, number 3 on the depth chart, somewhere around there. But I think they have to either draft somewhere in the early to mid rounds an additional edge to come in and spell these guys, because you can't look. Hutch took a ton of reps, and that tread on the tire, each rep he takes, that tread on the tire gets worn just a little bit more. So, and I look, I don't want to use this term, but I'm going to use this term, is, the NBA is load management, whatever. But
hold on, I got to interrupt you because that you just pulled a Jake Riepma. Oh, I don't want to say this, but now I'm going to say it. I'm rubbing off on you, and for that, I apologize.
Yeah. He's like, I hope you're not.
Yeah, that's the last thing.
But you have to protect your investment of, however much that Aiden's getting per year, and you want him. He's still going to play a majority of the snaps, but if you can knock a few of those snaps off every game, then it will keep him going further throughout the season and throughout his career. And I think this is a solid signing. I hope that he comes in here and he is very productive. And by being very productive, he gets himself to a second contract. Look, I hope he performs well enough to the Lions have to almost be like, God, we got to go back to the drawing board again and try to find somebody to sign like this again, because he's going to price himself out of this market, for the Lions to re-sign him. That's the kind of year I would love for him to have. And I tell you, the other interesting fact is the Lions going to the well a couple of times in free agency, the first week of free agency, to the Carolina Panthers and to sign a couple of their guys. So you sign the center and then you sign the edge rusher. Where does it end? Is that where it ends? Who knows? That it remains to be seen. But for this to be not a first day signing, because all the big money gets used, I'd say within that first week of free agency, but starting on Friday, because it started on Wednesday, I believe it was, at 4:00. So by Friday, the big money contracts are basically, that's the money dump. Wednesday, Thursday, that's the money dump by the clubs. Now you start getting into more economical signings, and then, and then a signing like this one, it's very economical. Once you get into week 2 of free agency, or the second week of free agency, it just starts to get more economical. And I think that is what they were waiting for, to get the most bang for their buck. So it's a good one.
Yeah, I was curious. You start to dig in a little bit more on the reaction online, and that can be a scary place to go.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yes, and I think it was
just pull up any of our past episodes.
Yeah, very, very good point.
True.
But some of the grading out, and grading out can always be, at the discretion of who's ever making said grades. I think PFF gets a lot of maybe criticism, maybe people love them, but that's one tool that people use. But I thought it was interesting among, let me make sure I have this correctly, but among 74 edge rushers with at least 500 pass rush snaps over the last 2 seasons, Wanom does not rank too favorably. 71st in quarterback hits, 57th in sacks, and 61st in pressure rates. And again, that's out of 74. But those are just strict data points without knowing schematically or what was called on those plays, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get too worked up about it. And I know
because we will, Bradford.
We had the same conversation last week versus Pacheco.
I know. I was getting flashbacks.
Does he fit the system? You're like the king of stats.
No. That we established this last week too. I'm not the king of stats. In fact, the statistics are more often than not just a big lie and manipulated to fit any argument. I'm just giving
use them.
I'm just giving the total picture to our listeners and our viewers. We got some live viewers today, so if you're live watching the Locked On Lions Squad show, fire up that comment section, say hello, because we don't have any comments yet, and that's an indictment on me, the host. So it's my bad, guys. I got to be better. But one segment in the books here on a live Locked On Lions Squad show. What do you say we discuss the rest of the free agent moves that were made in segment 2 right here on a live Locked On Lions Squad show? But first, today's episode of the Locked On Lions Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Let me find that FanDuel graphic for you. That's right. It is the best time of the year. I won't work a single second today because I'm going to be watching March Madness the entire time. College basketball, it's nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night, from early tip-offs to late night West Coast shootouts. And tonight you got March Madness basketball. I believe the last game tips off past 10 o'clock Eastern. How about that? There's always action on the board. And right now, FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Build the college hoops parlay any way you want. Maybe you got a bit on an upset. You're feeling good about a 15 seed over a 2 seed. That would be crazy, right? Or maybe a 14 over a 3. Shout out Wright State. Can they pull the upset? Maybe you want to go with those 8-9 matchups. Whatever it is, mix those spreads, totals, player props, whatever it is, and see how the slate plays out. You can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. And you know what? Those odds, they're always subject to change. So don't go safe. Instead, go bold. Ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head on over to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Back with you on a live Locked On Lions Squad Show. Whose phone's going off in the middle of the ad read? Or am I just hearing things?
I plead the fifth.
Was that you? I heard it and I was like, wait a second.
Need a little background
I could have
noise.
blamed it on Bradford because you actually have some people there with you.
Yeah.
No, they're gone. They're out.
No, I did that. I did that in the middle of
I just got so red.
It's okay, Nat.
I know, but you got mad one time. You were telling me about. Oh, never mind. We'll take this off.
Oh no. Let's bring it. Yeah, I always get so mad, don't I? I am just.
Well, someone's phone went off, I think, on your other podcast or something, and you're like, "What the heck?" Like, I don't think they knew you can hear anything and everything.
I did say that.
I'm not gonna name names, but someone started yelling.
No, I did not get. And I didn't get mad. I thought it was funny, but all right. We're moving right along here. We're already off the rails here, less than 20 minutes in. But this is great news. We do have some people watching. Hello to Mark Lewis 401. What's up, that guy 8440, and Jessica Finley 9996 checking in. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the live Locked On Lions Squad Show on the #1 sports podcast platform, the Locked On Podcast Network. All right. Other signings. Let's start. I'll throw it out to you. Who do we want to start with in this segment too? I mean,
Do we want to go Greg Dortch?
Yeah, I think we go wide receiver, right? The flashy, maybe score some touchdowns. The connection with our new offensive coordinator and Drew Petzing. I like it. I mean, it's obviously a depth hire, and we'll have to prove it. But one more guy to add to the rotation, Bradford Banta.
Yeah, no, I think it's just with him having affiliation with Petzing out at Arizona. I think he brings in a little bit of a culture builder in knowing how Petzing likes things done, and he understands the offense and what he's going to be trying to get accomplished, and guys can go to him just to ask questions, and instead of going to the coaches, because that's the one thing players always do. They'll go to their comrades first before they go to the coaches, just to make sure, because nobody wants to be embarrassed by asking a silly question or what they perceive to be silly. And by bringing Dortch in, I think it's a good signing. And and once again, you just want him to produce, and that's where the Lions and Dan and Brad, bring these guys in, and just because of past knowledge of coaches that they have just recently brought in, having past knowledge of these guys and already having a history with them, it'll just help with the system. Thumbs up, man.
Thumbs up. You like the pick? You
Yeah,
like the
I do.
pickup?
I do.
I think, as the Lions continue to address the guys that have now left in free agency on who to replace, from the reading that I've done, Greg Dortch has been a key returner on special teams, which thought you'd bring that up, Bradford. You too, Jake. Come on now.
Hey, we're all a team here.
We are. We got to leave room for other people to give their,
Everybody gets a nibble.
They do. Everyone gets a little bite, a little nibble. But I think
Don't
that's
worry,
key for.
I've got his the specific stats on the kick return and punt return numbers.
Why did that not surprise me?
Just
Perfect.
for Bradford.
I will give you the floor in just a second to give the people those stats. Do you actually have them? Because I do.
Yeah. No, you go. I do have them, and I was saving that in the hopper. But go. I don't want to be labeled as the stats guy on this program.
You don't.
Yeah,
I think you already have kind of written it.
Yeah, you've already crossed that line. So
ship has sailed. But Nat, join me in the stats department.
Sure. Here we go. I think he's a great fit to take over for Khalif Raymond on special teams and on offense. And we talked about it. The connection with Drew Petzing. I have exactly what he said. As soon as he signed, he's like, look, that was the biggest factor in why I wanted to come to Detroit, which speaks volumes to who Drew Petzing is. He said, the comfort factor, the trust, the success I've had with him, being my OC, our 3 years together. Drew is very smart and knows exactly how to get people the ball. So we like hearing that. We like hearing there's positivity coming in with our new guy. But yeah, it's a depth piece, and I'm going to hand the floor to Jake now to name the stats.
Oh yeah. So that I guess there's no escaping it, but I think he had 811 kick return yards and 185 punt return yards. So yeah, just to echo what you said about the Raymond replacement. And I think too, just and not that Khalif wasn't dynamic, he was electric. He very much was, but the players that possess some of those traits that you just can't develop or you can't necessarily coach. And JMO is one of those players that takes the top off the defense, and finding the ways to incorporate the speed and other components that Greg Dortch will bring is an exciting proposition, combined with everything we've said about the familiarity with Drew Petzing. So it's this one. I think this is one that when it hit the wire, everybody kind of shook their head. The obvious connections, and then you read into it a little bit further with Khalif Raymond's replacement, and all the different ways that he can fit in to this team. It's an exciting proposition all the way around. So pumped for that one. And then defensively, another depth piece added by the Detroit Lions in the linebacker core, Damone Clark. Probably going to be a depth piece guy, played for the Houston Texans. So you guys know I had to reach out to my Texans guy that runs Texans Today, the YouTube channel. And I believe the exact text I got was solid special teams guy. And I know that would make Bradford Banta happy.
Heck yeah. And he's got another connection, though, too, just like Greg does with Drew Petzing. Damone has a connection with Kelvin Shepherd at LSU.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So I read about that Kelvin loves him and has actually mentored him over the years. I think they've still had a really good relationship. So you like having that, good chemistry and camaraderie between player and coach already. So I thought that was interesting, too.
No, I did. Again, check on this signing as well. You not only fill a need for the special teams, and he could be a possible flag bearer, what I call a flag bearer for the special teams. And, he's going to be a 4-core guy, and then come in and, with his relationship with Calvin Shepherd, it's another, just like you said, it's another guilty by association, just with the LSU connection there. And having talked with Shep, talking about Clark, talking with Shep on a, who knows how often they talked, and just kind of mentored him a little bit. Dave Phipp is going to be happy, the special teams coordinator. Kelvin Shepard's happy because he's getting one of his guys in the building as well. And it sounds like initially Clark is happy as well because of the familiarity that he has with Shep. And and Dave Phipp does a good job, and he'll plug him in, and he will take advantage of every possible capability that Damone Clark can bring to the table and put him in the best position to succeed. And it's does he fill the need of Anzalone? No, he doesn't. But that was a very particular type of player. Is anybody going to fill that need of Anzalone? I don't see that happening. But it's going to be fun to watch as this defensive personnel signings evolve. Now, the next, what we need to probably address is the secondary. And I know they signed the guy from the Rams. I can't name again. Do we remember?
McCrary.
Corner. Yeah, McCrary. So, and I don't mean to transition to McCrary. Is that okay if we do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Right
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We with our different, I will say, just with our different schedule, this is our first show this week, so we're playing catch up here, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, there's and if you're listening on the audio only version, just go back in time with us for a little bit. We're catching up a little bit. Yeah.
So with the signing of McCrary, McCrary brings a little bit of physicalness to the DB room, and is it needed? I think you pair him up with Branch whenever he does come back. I think it's going to be pretty formidable. He's not going to be afraid to come up and make a tackle. From everything that I've seen so far of McCrary, he's at the line, in your face type cornerback. And I think again, we check a box there. Now, will it get him in trouble down the field? Yeah, with illegal contact, possible defensive holding, possible DPI. Have we already run across that with our past DBs? Yeah, Terrion Arnold. You are almost guaranteed to get one of those penalties per game with Terrion Arnold. Some of that stuff needs to be cleaned up. But they're slowly filling holes, and I think the safety position is going to need to be addressed in some way, shape, or form via free agency in these next couple of weeks or through the draft. And then we can, at some point in time, we can talk about the defensive line, specifically the interior, at some point.
I have another piece of news for us to catch up on.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
It's a good one. How about Malcolm Rodriguez being re-signed?
Yeah.
Oh,
Rodrigo. Come on. Was that I remember seeing that come through the old notifications. Was that last week or was that this week?
That was this week. So we wouldn't have missed it last week. Yeah, that just happened within the last couple days.
Early this week, wasn't it?
All right.
Yep.
I think it was it the same time that McCreary?
Yeah. I think it was. Yeah. Now,
Okay.
This is scary. I'm trying to rack my brain and remember how I keep things together. And I remember calling my grandpa and telling them about Malcolm Rodriguez back with the squad. So now, thank you, Nat. I got it all connected in my dumb little brain here. But
it's working.
Yeah, something like that. And while let's just keep going down the line, because I had one more I don't think we had mentioned yet either, but a depth piece at tight end. Michigan guy, local kid in Tyler Conklin coming over on a 1-year deal. Sterling Heights guy, and neat to see. I don't know how much gas he's got left in the tank, but I mean, big body, physical tight end, good route runner, and he's one of those guys that I just feel like he still can fit in some capacity. And we don't know the health certainty of the future of Brock Wright and how prominent of a role he might have, but a guy that still, like I said, I don't know how much gas he has left in the tank, but he's got some gas left in the tank.
He's not leaking too much oil yet.
Yeah.
Did I do good?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Take the wheel, Nat.
I mean, I'm looking up his age right now, 30 years old.
Oh, I can tell you, you guys want a fun Tyler Conklin story?
I do. Wait,
No,
Jake,
I want a
story
stats,
time now?
Jake.
Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. This is a fun anecdotal story.
I want to hear it.
So
Yeah.
Tyler Conklin's athletic career, this is crazy. His collegiate athletic career, I don't think anyone actually knows where it began because he played football at Central Michigan, right? Everybody knows that. His first year as a true freshman, he was playing Division II college basketball in Midland, Michigan at Northwood University. He was a good buddy of mine at the old Northwood University Timberwolves. Yeah. Good buddy might be, So, all right, now we're getting real anecdotal here. So he played a semester of college hoops at Northwood, and you wouldn't, if you did a side-by-side of what he looked like as a freshman in college to what he is now, he was like playing point guard. He was point guard or shooting guard, like skinny kid, could jump out of the
about to ask what position was he?
Could jump out of the gym. I was, the play-by-play broadcaster for Northwood at the time, and we were so excited. We've got this Tyler Conklin kid from Sterling Heights, freak athlete, point guard, could score, awesome basketball player. And then after his freshman year, he's like, I'm going to transfer. And my father at the time was the athletic director at Northwood. So he was in charge of, all the paperwork that goes in transferring, and the basketball coach. And well, obviously, you didn't want to let him go because he was such a good player. But my dad was good friends with Dan Enos, who was the head coach at Central Michigan at that time. This is like 2000, it'd be 2013 maybe. So a while ago, but Dan Enos was still at Central Michigan. And when he said he's transferring to play football, everyone at North was like, wait, he's a basketball player. And then the rest is history as he plays tight end for Central Michigan and goes on to have a great NFL career. So shout out Tyler Conklin from all of your buddies at Northwood University back in 2013.
It was 2013, by the way. I just had to prove it to you.
There you go. Yeah.
Stats girl. Stats guy, stats girl.
Yeah, you got my back. Does it have like any, additional footnote that Jake Riepma was the play-by-play broadcaster for that basketball team? Probably not.
Well, I'm going to have to do a little deeper research for that one. But
really have to dig into that one. Yeah.
Wikipedia is an open source that you can go put that in, right?
I should.
Ooh.
Yeah. No. But no, awesome guy. I think it'll be, great locker room fit. And obviously I feel like any Michigan kid that, that grew up in the state of Michigan, they get to come back and play for the Detroit Lions or is drafted by the Detroit Lions, like we saw with Tesla and everybody else. I think that's just, I'm a sucker for those stories. I love it.
Right. And they just appreciate it a little bit more, and they know the history here and wearing the Honolulu blue and silver. I just think that's cool.
It's a business, Nat. It's a business.
Sorry. My bad. I just had to get that out, but now we're going to be reprimanded by Bradford.
That's right.
I'm kidding.
I'll be back next segment. All
right. That's our seamless segue. Two more segments coming up. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, there we go. Two more right here on the live Locked On Lions Squad Show. This episode of the Locked On Lions Squad Show is brought to you by our good friends at Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now, I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, nope, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robin app Robinhood app now to begin. Features in cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. That was brutal. That one was scary. So that one, I know everybody cares, but all caps at the top of the ad read in yellow highlighted exclamation points must be read verbatim. And every time I see that, I get nervous because what if I don't read it verbatim? Then
Right. What's going to happen?
Yeah. And the
We get
print
canned.
Yeah, the print is like this big. So I was squinting and I need to see the eye doctor or something because the vision's not what it used to be. I'm falling apart. I'm leaking oil.
Uh-oh.
Can't have it. Can't have it. All right.
At the tender age of 22, you're falling apart.
Oh,
22.
I got gray in the beard. Someone at my gym this week said, "Oh yeah, I can see the gray in your beard." And I was like, "Thanks, appreciate that."
Wow, it's finally getting to that point.
I know. Brutal. All right. NFL news league wide. Some big ones. I mean, there's a lot of them, but the Minnesota Vikings just adding to that quarterback room. You got Kyler Murray, and then today Carson Wentz. So someone asked me, does that scare you having Kyler Murray play for the Minnesota Vikings? And I thought most teams no, but leave it to Kevin O'Connell. It's just the quarterback whisperer that will somehow get the most out of whoever his quarterback is. And I thought that was a significant signing for a lot of reasons, but also what it signals for JJ McCarthy and his future with the Minnesota Vikings. So Nat, I'll go to you first. I'm curious your thoughts. And I know this is not the Locked On Vikings squad show, well aware of that, but in the division, I don't know what those Minnesota Vikings are up to,
I don't know either. And I mean, even what Kevin O'Connell was able to do with Sam Darnold in that season just a couple years ago was great. And then Sam Darnold obviously goes on to win the Super Bowl this year. So I don't know. I mean, I think a change of scenery was obviously needed for Kyler Murray leaving Arizona. What it means for JJ McCarthy. I mean, he obviously had a down year last year, partially due to injury. Gosh, he was out for quite a bit of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
obviously,
I know
right.
he missed a significant amount of time, and then when he was like healthy to come back, they're like, actually, no, we're good. We don't need.
Yeah, I know. So is the writing on the wall for his role there in Minnesota? I don't know. I know you had a relationship with him too, right? Bradford being at Michigan. I mean, what do you like? I know you think highly of him, but what you've seen with him in his professional years thus far, what do you think that means bringing in someone like Kyler? Because I'm just curious your take.
Yeah, no, I mean, so JJ was, call it what it is. He was a top 10 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And, how has his performance been, thus far in his career? What was expected out of him going into, let's just say, his rookie year? What was expected of him going into his second year? I believe he's underperformed, but he's been effective when he's played to an extent. I just, golly, it's hard to judge how he has played just because of the body of work that he's put together, and it's been so sporadic, and the injuries that he's had have been one-off injuries. Now I know we had a concussion in there, and then he had the meniscus in his rookie year, and then the hand injury. There's just been some stuff that's kept him from playing. I wouldn't label him, as anything right now. He's just got to prove that he can play.
Yeah.
Right.
that's the biggest thing, because I have a ton of respect for JJ. JJ, that whole, whenever I was at Michigan, that whole quarterback room that was there at that time, basically from 20 through 22, those 3 years that I was there, ton of respect for every quarterback in that room, because they took my son under their wing and, just kind of took him in.
That's cool.
And whenever he was there, and Duke did everything he could to soak it up. And, but if you just put all that aside, the emotional attachment that I have with JJ, you do have to say that he has underperformed, thus far in his career. And I don't like to say that because I know the type of athlete and I know the type of competitor that he is. And it is y'all gonna give me a hard time, but it's a business. And they have to bring in competition with the signing of Kyler Murray, which is a complete opposite of, think of it this way. So you have Carson Wentz, JJ, and Kyler Murray. So Carson Wentz, JJ, Kyler Murray. JJ is kind of a mix between the two of Carson Wentz, because he can do let's call it what it is. He can see over the line in a drop back passing situation. Kyler Murray can. Carson Wentz can. I mean, no, you saw all the memes on social media and all that stuff that came out.
I love those. I fall for. I laugh.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting. It is a true competition at the Minnesota Vikings, just because of the three vastly different playing traits of all three quarterbacks that are going to be at Minnesota on the Minnesota roster this coming season. And Kevin O'Connell is going to have a Kyler Murray game plan, a J.J. McCarthy game plan, and a Carson Wentz game plan. And I think J.J. is going to I think really what it's going to be is a Kyler Murray game plan and a Carson Wentz game plan. And then with J.J., Kevin O'Connell is just going to combine both of those two quarterbacks' game plan and be like, J.J., this is your game plan. You're getting both of them. Because J.J., has pretty good size, and he definitely has the athletic ability. It's just now it's learning the defenses and what each coordinator is going to bring to make it difficult for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I think I read some of the NFL power rankings now and how all the pundits and talking heads rank everybody's offseason, and it just feels like the Vikings, they're a discussion point because they've made some pretty bold moves. But the other NFL news I wanted to get to from the league-wide little roundtable action here, Jalen Reeves-Maybin is going to remain the NFLPA president, and I think that's awesome, but I also don't really know, admittedly, I don't know exactly what that means, and who better to pick the brain than Bradford Banta, somebody that has far more experience with the NFLPA. And, if I had a vote, though, Bradford, I'd vote you president of the NFLPA.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
You have my vote, too.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, let's see. I lost my eligibility, I think, in 2006. So it's been a little bit. Yeah.
Damn.
So after retiring, after not playing with the club for 2 years, I think you lose your eligibility to get voted in.
He's losing it.
I'm laughing at Nat just going, damn, like you were really bummed. Yeah. It's going to be okay, Nat, I promise.
It's okay. Listen, if you became the president, Bradford, you couldn't do this podcast with us anymore. And then we'd be extra sad, okay? So
yeah, I got you. Okay. This will be my go-to station to get my news out there.
Oh gosh, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, I think with Jalen getting voted in again as president, it brings a minute amount of stability to the Players Association, especially with the turmoil that they've gone through over the last couple of years. After Mo Smith has been, chose to go another path, and with the turmoil that they've gone through over the past couple of years, and then the fact that J.C. Tretter came out and says, I don't want to be president, and then how the tune has changed over the last few months. And then he became a front runner to get voted in as basically the CEO of the NFLPA. And now he is, as a former player, similar to Gene Upshaw, I'm curious to see how he's going to shape the Players Association and fight for the players and also the retired players. Because I have a few thoughts on that, just with NIL, how NIL is going to affect the age of the players in the NFL. And is he going to fight for benefits for retired players? That's a question I have, and that's something that hits me near. It hits me very near to me because it affects me as well. And this is my thought on that: is I think with NIL, you are going to have fewer and fewer players get up in the amount of accrued seasons in the NFL, because players are staying in college longer because they're making good money as college players, and they're fighting for every year of eligibility. So they're getting into the league at a later age, and the league likes younger players because they can have them for longer and then they can develop them. And so I think you're going to see the amount of accrued seasons overall by players in the NFL is going to drop a little bit, not dramatically, but it's going to drop a little bit. And that's where and they're going to be fighting, the retired players are going to be fighting for a little bit bigger piece of the pie. And I think that's where you have somebody like J.C. Tretter is in that position, and he'll listen to former players. And you have somebody like Nolan Harrison, who is part of the retired NFLPA. He's part of the Players Association as well. But his first and foremost, his responsibility is the current players that are in the league. His second responsibility is the retired players. But the amount of revenue sharing, it's going to be interesting, because I would imagine as soon as the word came out that J.C. Tretter was elected as the head of the Players Association, I don't know if you noticed, but Roger Goodell, almost immediately had a prepared statement of, glad J.C. Tretter got it. He already had a prepared statement. They just needed a name.
Yeah.
To put in there, hey, congratulations, X. Glad he got the job.
Yeah, I'm looking at Rappaport's tweet about it right now. The executive director of the NFLPA, I guess would that be his official title, executive director?
Yeah, and and the NFL smells blood in the water, and they want to get a new collective bargaining agreement done ASAP. Even though we have 4 more years left on the bargaining agreement on the CBA, but they want to get a new one. Why? Because they want to add an extra game to the regular season.
Yeah.
So they're in. So now you have to look at, contracts of all these players. How is that adjusted? Every player's contract is in the league is going to get adjusted. That has a current, if you get an 18th game added, that contract is going to get adjusted, and it's going to get a bump in pay, because let's face it, it's another opportunity where you're employed as an employee of a certain club, where you're being asked to go out and perform in extra duty. So those are is it going to happen? Talking about an 18th game, I believe it is. Very good possibility. And the NFL and the owners were just waiting for this executive director to get elected, and now they're going to hit it full force.
That'll be interesting.
I'd like an 18th game.
Yeah, for the fans.
I mean, if anyone cared about my opinion, I would vote for that.
We care about your opinion, Nat.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. It's one more post-game show with you guys. Sign me up,
There you go.
One more instant reaction. Why not? All right, we got one more segment. We'll close it out and look ahead to tomorrow's show, because that's right. We're getting 2 shows in this week. Just happens to be on a Thursday and Friday. Don't go anywhere. Locked On Lions Squad Show continues in just a second. But first, it's the 5-hour energy flavor draft. That's right. The NFL draft's not the only draft going on right now. Welcome to the 5-hour energy flavor draft. 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow. That's my favorite, the fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. I've got my number 1 pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. Drum roll this week, it is berry. Big, bold berry flavor, slightly sweet, very fruity, and the classic mixed berry flavor with notes of raspberry and blackberry. It's that smooth sweetness without being overly sugary. Yes, it is also has that light tartness that keeps it nice and balanced, just like our show. Nice and balanced, a little bit of sugary flavor there, some nice light tartness. It's familiar, it's easy to recognize, and it is that classic fruit profile. That's why the big, bold berry flavor is my number 1 pick this week. Who's your number 1 pick? Head on over to 5hourenergy.com. That's 5hourenergy.com. Also available on Amazon. Switched it up this week. A new pick for my number 1 overall pick. Very fruity.
Big berry flavor.
Big
bowl. I'm still a fan of confetti.
Yeah.
Still a fan of confetti.
Birthday cake.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's get wild.
Can they send us some to taste test for a second?
I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but they used to. Last summer, we had one with, I guess, free advertising here, but the Liquid IV, and they sent me a whole care package of Liquid IV, and I was loving it because, you talk about it in your ad read, and you use the product sampling to your advantage, and I don't know, maybe budget cuts, maybe something else, but no free samples this time. Budget cuts in 2026, but. Final segment of the program here. Let's get those rumor rumblings going. I read an article, so it has to be true. It's on the internet. Joey Bosa still out there in free agency, with the Lions already making a move at the edge position. The draft coming up. Does Joey Bosa still fit into the formula, into the equation? Bradford shaking his head. Yes.
Okay.
Let's go right there, folks. Bradford Banta.
Okay. Hey, look, I know that Bosa's mom wants to do a Campbell's soup commercial for the 49ers. I know that for a fact. I mean, you just read the tea leaves, right? To pair up the Bosa boys, for doing the Campbell's soup commercial, chunky soup. Is he a fit for the Lions? Look, you never turn down talent. Never. And adding that third piece to the mix with the Lions would be an ideal situation for the Detroit Lions. Now, can we get him to see that as well? One would hope. You like I said, you never turn down talent, and you always bring in competition, and that's what this is. And you just like we talked about at the beginning of the show, if you can. I see Bosa going on both sides of the ball, just like Hutch does. I see, I see Wanom doing the same thing. Just maybe a 3 or 4 man rotation. If we can do that, hey, very good. So, but also think of it this way. Let's say you get all 3 of them on the field at the same time in definite passing situations where similar to the way that the Cleveland Browns use Myles Garrett, where they put him, he's sitting there doing the crossover dribble before the snap, and he's at linebacker depth exactly in the middle of the field, and then you don't know which way he's going, right or left. So how do you set your protection? I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen Hutch play basketball. I don't know if he can do the crossover, but put him in the middle of the field, you're not sure which way he's going.
We know
you're definitely not going to drop him.
Yeah. No, for sure. I love the idea and the never turning down talent, all in on that. But yeah, we know Hutch can golf, but can he hoop? Does he have the crossover move?
I don't know about the crossover, but Lions social media, they posted a basketball video last year. If you guys remember.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Someone had a really Amon-Ra St. Brown played in the Celebrity All-Star game. What am I talking about? We know he can hoop. We know he can hoop. But lot of exciting potential this time of year. We're going to talk a little more draft tomorrow because we got a show tomorrow, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Nat, you've got some Detroit Pistons duties tomorrow, which we did have a comment from one of my main guys. Oh yeah, Demetrius McNeil, big fan of the Locked On Tigers post-game show. That's my guy right there. Love Demetrius McNeil. Loyal supporter wants to know your thoughts on the Cade injury, which is a shameless plug too. We got Locked On Lions, our squad, or Locked On Pistons, our squad show coming up in an hour. So you want to tune into that.
Heck yeah. This injury, I'm nervous. I did not like seeing that from Shams come across my screen this morning. It's tough for this team that's obviously has high playoff hopes, making it far, what they've been able to accomplish at this point in the season, to have your guy go down for however long. I mean, there's no timetable. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Left lung, a lung collapse is the injury for those who haven't heard. Went down just a couple of days ago, diving for a loose ball against the Wizards. Trey Johnson from the Wizards kind of landed on top of him. Didn't look like anything at first, but after further testing, he is now out for an extended period of time. So I don't know. I'm sad about it. I'll take my media cap off for a second.
There you go.
But you don't want to hear that about your star player. You just don't. Where do you make up that production? You can't rely on. I'm not going to turn this into a Pistons podcast right now. I'll let you say
join us in an hour. Join us in an hour there. But
I know. What do you think, Jake?
TJ Watt had the punctured lung. Tyrod Taylor had the
You're right.
Collapsed lung. I'm not a doctor. I don't know that I'm collapsed, punctured. Point being, who is it? CJ McCollum, an NBA guy, had it twice. Came back from it. So I'm optimistic in the body is resilient, and the medical professionals, they'll do their thing, and he'll be back in no time. I'm optimistic. And on top of that, I'm confident because Cade's a fighter.
Yeah, he is. Whoa, okay. I love this out of you right now. Let's go. Fire me up. I'm optimistic too. It's happened to others. It's unfortunate that it's just now happened to him too, but he is strong. He hasn't, I don't know. I mean, he dealt with some injuries at the start of his career, but he's been good ever since, knock on wood. But hopefully this is a speedy recovery for him, and the doctors get it all figured out, and medical staff and all that. So next man up mentality, right, Bradford?
You got it. They're there for a reason.
They are.
That's right.
And the Pistons have a lot of depth. So I'm not crazy. It's a business, that he said. I don't know. not crazy. I mean, concerned that he'll be able to come back hopefully at the start of playoffs. We'll see. I'm not going to speculate,
What
but
they got 24 days left, so a little bit more than 3 weeks. I don't know how many games in that timetable, but hey, we are back tomorrow. Bradford Banta has a busy itinerary lined up, so we will let him go.
Yeah.
And like I said, shameless
Appreciate
plug.
it.
Yeah, Locked On Pistons squad show coming up in an hour. Just hang out with us on YouTube, put some college basketball up there, and lesson. You know what they always say on pardon the interruption. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. So I always loved that. It was a great outro. Great show by
I love it.
my former professor, Michael Wilbon. Great professor over there at Northwestern University. There's that flex for you guys. You know, you probably didn't get that at Michigan State, did you, Natalie Kerwin?
I mean, no, but I got legendary Tigers broadcaster for the radio, Dan Dickerson's wife, L.A. Dickerson. So
that's right. I knew you were going to go there. And in fact, I couldn't even stop saying, I couldn't finish the statement before I knew you were going to go there. So props to you. But
I can tell you knew. You're like, dang it, I put myself in a hole. She's about to come back right now.
That's right. What a show. We're off the rails for Bradford Banta, 20-year NFL veteran, Natalie Kerwin, sideline reporter for the Detroit Pistons. I'm just some guy, Jake Riepma, blabbing into the microphone. See you tomorrow for the Locked On Lions Squad Show. Goodbye.